first classical piece you need to know about this week is Bartok's Concerto for Orchestra. Written in the early 1940s, this might be Bartok's best known piece, though amusingly enough, it's actually not a concerto, contrary to the title. Bartok used this title purposefully because he was trying to treat each section as its own unique entity when he was composing the piece. But regardless, this is brilliant from beginning to end, and you have to know it. This piece is really significant because all of the different styles and elements he was able to infuse into a single artistic work. You have Western music, European folk music, the classical traditional form, there's just so much coming together here. And he also uses a massive range of non-traditional modes and scales that makes this completely unique. This works perfectly with the clashing rhythms that go all the way from completely wild to an almost drone sound. And it's really one of those classical works that kind of refuses to sit still in that really cool way. There's this wonderfully unique sonic picture that gets painted across the about 40-minute runtime. And it's just one of those classical pieces you're gonna instantly fall in love with. Trust me on this one. Oh, and for all you people out there who are into that whole alternate ending thing, he actually wrote two completely different endings, and you can see both of them performed to this day. The next piece I want you to check out is Britten's War Requiem. Now, I've actually been wanting to talk about this one for over a year, but it's the sort of piece I needed to ease you into because it's a very unique entity, even in the world of classical. It has this feel and this massive impact like almost nothing else out there. You might have never heard of it, but trust me, you need to know it. Written in 1961, this is one of the rare occurrences where you have the truly perfect combination of a vocal choir and a devastatingly beautiful orchestration that work together as one from beginning to end. This is also one of those times where you're supposed to have two orchestras working simultaneously, and that chamber orchestra is used to fully realize all of the emotions in this piece. The whole work was actually inspired by a series of 9 poems written by a World War I soldier, and this was actually commissioned to commemorate the opening of the Coventry Cathedral, the original which was destroyed during the Second World War. The ominous tone can really be felt on this one, and it's absolutely amazing how Britten juxtaposed 3 different sections working against one another and kind of with each other throughout the whole piece. There's this back and forth, you can really feel the energy. In fact, the original vocal performance was supposed to be done by a Russian, a German, and an Englishman to kind of show the unity that was there after World War II, but the Soviet Union decided they weren't going to let their vocalist be there for the gig. Regardless, this piece runs the true gamut of emotions and shows that power and emotion you can only find in the world of classical. You just have to experience this one live. Trust me, go see it. For the last piece today, go check out Igor Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. We're actually jumping into the world of ballet here, and this is the third of 3 in a series that Stravinsky did from 1910 to 1913. This piece is huge because it was so radically different than anything else being done at the time, and as the story goes, it caused a near riot in Paris at the premiere. That was largely due to the overall intensity you find in this piece, these large, pounding rhythms all throughout it, and it's often interpreted as pulsing engines or large machinery, definitely a sign of the industrial age. Basically, Stravinsky completely ignored everything that had been done in the classical form to that point and did exactly what he wanted to do. He was purposely moving towards those darker, less beautiful sounds that orchestras were known for. And through that, he was able to bring something strangely human to classical that had really never been touched on before. This is also where you would see the final form of what people now call bitonality in music. There's 2 different keys working simultaneously throughout this piece. And it's about as irregular a classical work as you'll find at that time and for a very long time after it. All of this almost rebellious composition comes together in a grand and exciting fashion, and along with inspiring an entire generation of composers after him, it's featured very prominently in Walt Disney's Fantasia. Oh, and it also served for the namesake of one of the greatest bands ever. We should totally talk about them sometime soon. There's simply no way around it. Classical music remains the foundation for almost every form of music that's ever existed. So make sure you take some time this week and get your classical on.